I won't tell you the basic stuff of like praying all night, worshipping Allah, making dua. Obviously you have to worship Allah and like pray, read Quran, make dua, but I want to make you effortlessly gain hasanat, good deeds. There was once a guy, let's call him Ahmed, and a sheikh. They were in the house together and someone knocks. So Ahmed goes to open the door, and then the sheikh asks him, what are you gonna do? Ahmed tells him, I'm gonna go open the door. The sheikh tells him, okay, come back down. I'll go open the door. So he goes, opens the door, and then returns and tells him, do you know why I opened the door instead of you? And then he told him, you just wanted to open the door. I said the intention to go to my brother to help him. I said the intention to give him a handshake from the sunnah. I said the intention to greet him with a smile. That's from the sunnah. I said the intention to invite him into my house. I said the intention to greet him with food. I said, So he just said these massive amounts of intentions, and for each intention he gets rewarded. So imagine the difference between Ahmed and the Sheikh, the difference between how much they both get rewarded. There is a verse in the Quran which tells us that Allah did not create humans or the jinn except to worship Him. Now, how much worship do you really do? Do you spend all night praying? Do you spend all day making dua, making dhikr? You don't do that. You probably do that for like 5% of your entire day. So how do we worship Allah 24/7? Now in Islam there are two acts of worship. The worship you're used to, which I just mentioned, prayer and stuff, and the worship of eating, sleeping, drinking. But you're not doing those things for the sake of it. You're doing it for the sake of Allah. You're sleeping so that you wake up for Fajr. You're eating so that you're able to have enough energy to pray and worship Allah. You're eating to follow the sunnah of eating with your right hand and saying Bismillah. You're just setting the intention for everything to be an act of worship. Everything. Let me just Google the hadith. I don't know the hadith. Shufayya was one of the tabi'een, one of the successors after the Prophet ﷺ. He left for Medina for the first time, and when he entered the masjid, he saw a place where people were gathered around a specific person who kept narrating hadith after hadith. And when he was surrounded by a lot of people, he asked someone, who is this? They said it's Abu Hurairah. So then after everybody left, and it was just Shufayya and Abu Hurairah, Shufayya asked Abu Hurairah, can you give me a hadith from the Prophet ﷺ which you understood perfectly? And then Abu Hurairah begins narrating the hadith, but then he passes out. And Shufayya grabs his body because he fell. And then he regains consciousness. And Abu Hurairah starts narrating it again, and then he passes out again. And then this happens one more time. And Abu Hurairah says the hadith that the first who will be judged on the Day of Judgment is a man who was a martyr. He will come forward, Allah will remind him of his favors and the things he granted him, and the man will acknowledge it. And then Allah will say, what did you do to express gratitude for it? So the man says, I fought for your cause until I was martyred. Allah will say, you have lied. You fought so that people may call you courageous. So that people may call you courageous. I can't say that word, bro. Courageous. Is it courageous? Courageous. And they have done so. And he will be dragged on his face and thrown into the hellfire. Honestly, I can't memorize this entire hadith and paraphrase it, so I'll just read it from the thing. Next, a man will be brought forward who has acquired knowledge and read the Quran. And Allah will do the same thing again. He will remind him of his favors. And then he will ask him, what did you do to express gratitude for? The man will say, I acquired knowledge and taught it, and read the Quran for your sake. Allah will say to him, you have lied. You acquired knowledge so that people might call you a learned man, and you read the Quran so that they might call you a reciter, and they have done so. And he will also be dragged into the hellfire by his faith. And then the next man who's brought forward is a person who Allah has given wealth. Allah will remind him of this favor that he has given him, the money, and he will ask, what did you do to express gratitude for it? The man will reply, I did not neglect any of the ways you liked wealth to spend liberally. I don't know. Anyway, he spent it for the cause of Allah, like charity and zakah and stuff. And Allah will say to him, you have lied. You did it so that people might call you generous, and they have done so. And then this guy will also be dragged into the hellfire. So you can see how much the intention, they did amazing things. A person who sacrificed his life for Allah. The worship of the absent-minded are just habits, and the habits of the present minded is just worship. You need to make your entire life for the sake of Allah. You need to like have this perspective that you view everything in Islamic way. Like it's a way of life, you know, it's not just something that you do. You go to the masjid 5 times a day and the rest of your day is free. No, you eat for the sake of Allah, you sleep for the sake of Allah, you gain knowledge for the sake of Allah. And doing this will just imagine the amount of rewards you get on laylatul qadr. Like imagine setting the intention of studying, of eating, of sleeping, of drinking, of entering the bathroom, everything for the sake of Allah, and imagine getting rewarded for every single one of them for 86 years, because Laylatul Qadr is worth 1000 months.
إنا أنزلناه في ليلة القدر وما أدراك ما ليلة القدر ليلة القدر خير من 1000 شهر تنزل الملائكة والروح فيها بإذن ربهم من كل أمر سلام هي حتى مطلع الفجر.
Imagine how much reward you collect. So the hadith is, verily, deeds are only with intentions, and every person will have only what they intended. Whoever immigrated to Allah and His Messenger, His immigration is for Allah and His Messenger. Whoever immigrated to get something in the world or to marry a woman, his immigration is for that which he immigrated. So, if you're watching this after Laylatul Qadr, be sure to watch it next Ramadan. Or just note it down, whatever. I made a daily routine for Ramadan, which you can use for like the 10 last days of Ramadan. I'll try to put on the screen the things I said so that you don't watch the video. But here it is, if you want to actually watch the video. Goodbye.